The diner was buzzing that evening, clinking glasses, sizzling pans, and the soft hum of jazz spilling from an old radio. But at table 7 sat the kind of man everyone noticed. He wore confidence like a suit, expensive, loud, and tailored to impress. Ethan Vaughn. Tech millionaire. Known for his arrogance almost as much as his fortune. He leaned back in his chair, smirking, as the waitress poured his coffee. "You must love your job," he said mockingly, "dealing with people like me all day." The waitress smiled politely. "Someone's got to keep you humble." Her name was Lena Carter, mid-20s, graceful but tired, with a quiet determination behind her eyes. She was working double shifts, saving every penny for graduate school. Most customers barely noticed her. Ethan did, but not for the right reasons. He pushed his phone across the table. On the screen, a paragraph of text in an unfamiliar script. "Translate this," he said with a smug grin. "Do that, and I'll make you a director in my company tomorrow." The nearby tables went quiet. The challenge was absurd. Lena glanced at the screen, a block of Chinese characters. She chuckled softly. "You're serious?" "Dead serious," Ethan replied. "You've got 1 minute." The other waiters exchanged looks. It was cruel, a rich man's game, designed to humiliate. But Lena didn't flinch. She took a deep breath, her fingers tracing the air as if recalling long-forgotten notes. 30 seconds later, she placed his phone back on the table and said calmly, "It says, success is nothing if you forget where you came from." Ethan froze. His smirk faltered. "How did you?" "I majored in linguistics before I had to drop out," she said softly. "My mom got sick. Bills piled up. This," she gestured to her apron, "was the only way to keep things going." The diner went still. Even the jazz seemed to hush. Ethan stared at her, the weight of her words hitting harder than he expected. That quote, those very words, were engraved on a plaque in his late father's office. He had written them himself, years before becoming wealthy. "How do you know that phrase?" he asked quietly. Lena blinked. "I didn't. I just read it." It was the first time in years anyone had reminded him of his father, or the humility he'd buried beneath his success. He swallowed hard, then stood up, slipping his card onto the counter. "You start Monday," he said. Lena frowned. "What?" "Director of Communications," Ethan said, voice steady. "If you can read hearts as well as languages, my company needs you." Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them away. "Are you serious?" He nodded. "Dead serious." The diner burst into soft applause, not for the millionaire, but for the woman who silenced him with grace and quiet brilliance. A week later, Lena walked into the glass towers of Vaughn Technologies, not as a waitress, but as a leader. Her first initiative? A scholarship fund for underprivileged students who had to leave. The night air outside the diner was crisp, carrying the scent of rain. Inside, the hum of chatter and clinking silverware made it feel almost cozy, except for the tension brewing at table 7. Lena Carter balanced a tray of plates on one arm, smiling through exhaustion. Her double shift had stretched into 12 hours, but she didn't complain. She never did. Her co-workers knew, the quiet brunette with the tired eyes always showed up, never late, never bitter. But tonight, fate had seated Ethan Vaughn in her section. The man was impossible to miss. Expensive watch, perfectly tailored suit, and the unmistakable arrogance of someone who believed money made him untouchable. He was laughing loudly with a group of investors, boasting about his latest tech startup and how people who couldn't keep up didn't deserve success. When Lena approached his table with coffee, Ethan leaned back and smirked. "You look smart. Tell me something, if you could change your life right now, what would you do?" Lena smiled politely. "Finish my degree. Maybe teach languages one day." He chuckled. Languages? That's cute. A few of his friends laughed. Lena's cheeks flushed, but she didn't let it show. It's not cute. It's powerful, she said gently. Languages connect people who would never understand each other otherwise. Ethan raised a brow. All right, Professor. Let's test that theory. He unlocked his phone, tapped a few times, and turned the screen toward her. Translate this, he said with a grin, and I'll make you a director in my company. The diners nearby fell silent. It wasn't just a challenge, it was mockery. Lena's eyes flicked over the glowing screen. A paragraph in Mandarin Chinese. The characters danced in her mind, and something clicked, muscle memory from years of studying before she had to drop out. Ethan's friends whispered, stifling laughs. She's thinking hard. Bet she'll make something up. But Lena wasn't flustered. She took a slow breath, recalling every tone, every stroke she once traced from old textbooks by candlelight when her power had been cut off. Finally, she looked up. It says, success is nothing if you forget where you came from. The laughter stopped. Ethan blinked, his grin slipping. What did you just say? Lena repeated it softly. That's what it means. For a moment, he just stared at her. The noise of the diner faded, all he could hear were those words. His late father's voice echoed in his head, the same phrase engraved on the wooden plaque that used to hang above their old family store before he'd sold it and left everything behind. He sat back, the color draining from his face. Where did you learn that? Lena shrugged. I studied Mandarin before life got in the way. My mom got sick, so I left school to take care of her. But I never stopped learning. Her tone wasn't proud or pitiful, just matter of fact. Ethan cleared his throat, but his arrogance had